countries in Latin America in talent for crypto.
It's probably the majority of the work in crypto is that kind of
the transfer from oil and gas and data.
Building modular building blocks for people to build on.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining the Behind the Company Lines podcast.
At least once a week, you'll be meeting one-on-one with the engineer who will be doing code reviews with you. Now, the purpose of these code reviews is for quality assurance. They don't want junior engineers pushing bad code into production. But the effect of it is that people learn very fast because the way to learn quickly is to get feedback on what you're doing wrong so that you can correct it as soon as possible. So that's what ends up happening, even though that might not be the primary intent. Yeah. So that heavily informed how I run Rare Skills nowadays. The one-on-one component is very important to me.
As a developer, it can be very enticing to build something. Like you run into a challenge like, oh, I need a way to store information here, or I need a way to verify information, or to check for credentials, or I need to decide if someone's allowed to do something or not. It can be very enticing to just try and build it on your own, because as a developer, that's what you do. You run into a technical challenge and you write code to solve it. But I think the smart thing to do is not to reinvent the wheel. It's the first thing.
The only way I was able to keep up with people in the audio industry was by touching speakers in order to get information directly to my fingertips, because every studio is different. Studio A is different. Yeah. The musicians have a different sensation when they go into the performance concert hall. Everything was always different. So I brought that kind of idea to the university to research. How am I able to hear everything correctly when I have a deficiency? And then is that something that other people can take advantage of? And impetus of Edge Sound research really came from my disability and in the research of trying to figure out, is there a more direct path to be able to understand sound from A to Z?
Our goal here is to make sure that we have the best detectors in the world that are 6 to 12 months ahead of anyone else trying to generate synthetically manipulated threats. The only way to do that is to simultaneously pioneer generation. So we have generative networks that can synthesize face and voice in 48 kilohertz in 4K video. The highest quality face and voice manipulation networks to date exist at DeepMedia. And that allows us to build detection software that can detect fake videos the moment they come out.
I came up with Toohla because I wished that this product existed for someone like me. Essentially, my extended family and my parents and grandparents, they all live in India, and I live and work in the US, and I was born in the US. I treat it as my home. And every year I have to fly basically to India to visit all of my family. And obviously flying is the worst thing that you can do at all for the climate. And I was thinking it really sucks that I have to choose between seeing my family and living where I want and minimizing my impact on the climate and the environment.
The idea of building products and services and helping bring companies to life has been a through line throughout my career. I started in advertising years ago and very quickly realized that the most fun you'll ever have in advertising is in school. And so I found an opportunity to leave that and ended up at a small innovation company where I really cut my teeth in thinking about what it means to bring a product to life, what it means to think about how to service consumer needs and balance those with business needs.
There's so much power for good in turning our spending behaviors into saving and investing. And we need it more than ever before. The income gap and the disparities around those that are predominantly a very small sleeve are making enough to save, to retire, to invest, and go beyond versus those that are making minimum wage to just trying to struggle month by month or year by year. We're hoping to help mitigate that and teach people how to get started now.
Something that's really cool to see about the gaming space is that it's kind of grown up. And what I mean by that is that people who are 13, 14, 12 years old, 16, 17, 18 years old playing games have now become adults. They have part-time or full-time jobs, but they still game with their buddies on weekends and at night. And like they still have nights where everybody comes over and they just play FIFA. And this is something that's an entire switch in the demographic of like what we thought of as adults. Because when we thought of adults, we were like, oh, they don't play video games. But that's changed.
How much time do you spend on educating your customers and your partners?
It's just an absolute core focus for us here at Till. And one, we take a consultative approach. And then two, our marketing strategy is really content marketing approach. And so when it comes to the content marketing strategy, how we get people in the door, we spend a ton of time developing thought leadership content, be it blogs, long form content piece, podcasts like this. And for us, what we're finding is that consistently our customers, before they ever actually get in touch with our sales teams, have actually done quite a bit of research on Tilt, on our competitors, on the space in general.
Upwards of 20,000 organizations that use Donut. So there's a lot of people out there talking about how they like their egg and having coffee chats with each other. We've made millions of connections between people. Yeah, it's pretty exciting, the scale of which that we've helped people make connections. And we have all kinds of user anecdotes about making new friends. And then there's kind of the work outcomes, right? Like sometimes we hear really cool stories about two people on different teams that started collaborating on a project or gave each other an idea.